Hello, everybody. Brian Martin with you here on the wide world of tabletop sports. And today we're going to start giving a tour of the new Affinity by Canva. It is the new suite that combines all of the three previously independent Affinity products into a single suite. We'll talk about that. We'll go through and we'll start really from the very beginning and show you some very basic things you'll need to get started. And then we can get into talking about some of the other elements, like how do you create different shapes, different sizes, how do you do, and we'll get more advanced as we go along, going from creating very basic black and white cards to cards that have merge features and color and logos and backgrounds and etc etc, so you can create whatever cards that you need for whatever thing that you need to do. Business cards, game cards, we're into sports gaming cards here on this channel, but you can use these to create magazines, you can use them to create catalogs, you can use them to create a whole bunch of things, but we're going to focus on tabletop gaming cards. So let's begin at the beginning where any good story starts, and you're going to need to give yourself a canvas. So the first thing you need to do is say File, New. It's going to bring up a window for you, which I'll drag over here, giving you all the different sizes of paper that there are and all the different types of photo papers, different canvases in terms of what you might use for artwork, video and web formats, different devices if you want to do this on an iPhone or such and such. So if you're dealing like with building a website or web display, we're going to focus on just page sizes. You'll pick letter, and once you do that, over here in this area here, you will find all of the different settings. Your base settings are going to be for cards. You're going to start in inches here. And you're going to then set the page width is 11 inches and the height is 8.5. So right now this page will be set to be a landscaped page. And since most perforated stock is done landscaped in terms of the number of cards is across the width of the page or the height of the page, if you're looking at it as a traditional sheet, we're going to do this landscape. You're going to want to click on margins here, turn them on, and set them to 1/4 inch. In Affinity, there is this link button that you'll see lots. And notice I clicked it and there's all the little lines went away. When you click the link, it means that whatever change you make in one of these, they're all the same. So I'm going to put 2.25 inches in the first thing, and it gives me 1/4 inch margins all the way around. If you want to set different margins, you have to unlink them and change the ones you want to be different. The size of perforated paper I'm using is 8.5 by 11. The cards are set on landscape mode, and there are 1/4 inch margins all the way around. For design purposes, though, I'm going to convert this and say I want this in millimeters, because the card sizes are really, in all the games that I've dealt with, the card sizes fit those smaller European style card sleeves. So they're measured by millimeters, not necessarily by inches. And this will allow you more granularity in the design. And I'll show you that in a minute when we set up the rest of the page. So once you do that, you don't need to do anything else. You're not doing a multi-page thing. You don't need to worry about bleed and drawing scale, because it's all going to be done and exported to PDF. So you don't have to worry about that right now. So you create the document. And there you are. You have a blank canvas. Now you'll note that this canvas has, you can see the border here. You can see, sorry about that. You can see the margins. And the next thing you'll do is you'll go to View, and then you'll go to Grid and Axis, and it brings up the Grid and Axis tool, which you're going to have to drag up here because I'm going to go to Advanced. I'm going to click Show Grid, and you now see a grid pops up. You can choose the color of your grid lines. I'm going to choose just plain old red. And leave it at that. And then this is the scaling, means how big do you want the square to be along the x-axis. I want it to be 2 millimeters wide. I'll tab 3 times, type 2 again, and I'm going to get squares and I'll close this now. I'm going to get squares that are 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters. It's going to allow you to draw very specific shapes in very specific sizes to be able to fit the cards in where you need them to. That canvas that you're looking at right now can be changed in terms of how much you see at one time. To zoom in, you may either pick the view and choose zoom, and then choose one of these elements, or you can use the control equal sign to zoom in, or the control minus sign to zoom out. For our purposes, what I like to do is we're going to work on one card, only ever going to work on one card at a time. So you're going to want to have your canvas be this upper region here, this upper region of the thing. So you're going to drag these scroll bars left, right, up, down. So when you hit the control button 3 times, now you can see what your canvas looks like in a much bigger format. Before we start the next section of what we're doing, I'm going to get this scaled back down so you can see the whole page, because the next important thing that you're going to need to do for these cards is you're going to have to you're going to have to use one of the tools that's in your toolbox to create a merge file. Now you'll notice over here that the program automatically drops you to vector. You're going to want to go and click it to layout. And once you do, this toolbar here changes, because now we're looking at design elements. The vector was looking at tools like paintbrushes and pixels and all that sort of stuff. And in doing that, you now have to have these tools available to you to get done. Before we do tools, we'll walk you through a few of the things that you have available. Layers will show you every design element on the page at that moment. How you group them, how you organize them, how they fit together will be handled in subsequent videos. But layers are the key to this whole thing. Everything is a layer. You draw a plain box that you want to color blue to have in the corner of your card, always to be a blue card, corner of your card. That's a layer. You want to have a text box that will go over top of that. That's a layer. If you link them, they become a grouped layer so that they behave together. They move together. They can be edited together. Pages will always be referring back to the pages you have created in your document. For cards, you need to create one page, because the next thing we're going to show you in this video is how to set yourself up to get ready for the rest of the process, which is to institute the data merge field. We'll get to that in a moment. Assets are items you have already built previously in the system that were layers that you've grouped together into a single asset that you can bring back in now to anything that you've done in the past. And I'll show you that just as a thing when we get to the merge piece in a few minutes. But those are assets. And you can see I have here, there's one called the baseball player card, the lacrosse player card. There's the golf player card. There's the race driver card. Another race driver card, another hockey player card, and so on and so forth. So those are assets. And then data merge will be where you will select a data file that contains elements that have been put together in advance that your previously crafted cards will pull in based on the fields that are in that data merge. And that is how you'll be able to create an entire league's worth of cards with just one template that you're going to build here, and the merge will create all of the rest for you. On this side, you'll have things like color. You can use a color wheel, which is what this is. There's a color dropper, so if you want a color picker, so if you've brought in if you've copied an image and you want to copy a certain color off that image to be in your palette, you can do that. You have fields. That is where the information will be. I'll pull this fields one out. You can pull these tabs on here. When you have a data merge file, it will show you all of the fields that you can use in the document, and you can dock these into these sideline items anytime you like. Swatches gets you to a place where you can see different colors. You can get colors, gradients, grays. You can use Pantone. You can get as creative as you want. Try all kinds of things. There's metallics, neons, pastels. Get as creative as you want. Or you can go to the you can switch over to, in the color section, you can switch over to the RGB function and do those as RGB codes that you can put in. And stroke then is the type of lines you draw around. Does it have a cap? Is it thick? Is it thin? How wide is it? Is it beveled? Those sorts of things. Well, we'll get into those elements later on. Then you have table properties for when you build tables, what the frame looks like, how the strokes are for the cells and how you fill them, what the properties of the cells are, how far left and right they are, how big they are, how high they are, how wide they are, rotation, vertical position. So you can do that. You have the other element that's really cool is this transform, because it tells you for the element that you're looking at, how wide is it, how high is it, so you can manually do that, and you can create rotations to slant things, so you don't have to draw a slanted box or have slanted text. You can put the text in a normal size box, in a normal text, and by using the rotation and shear function, you can tilt that and it becomes a sideways looking or tilted or italicized without needing an italicized font or having to actually do things in italics. So those are just some of the tabs that we're going to use at some point in time during this whole process to help you build the cards that you want and to build your different design elements. But right now, that's what we have available at this time. So now that we've gone through a little bit of that, we'll get to some of these tools in a minute. The first tool you want to do is this one right here. It looks like a sheet of paper with another sheet of paper behind it with an arrow on it. And as you can see on the thing, it says Data Merge Layout Tool if you mouse over it. And you can learn more about something. But once you've clicked that and you move your cursor, notice how the cursor is turned to a pinpoint with a crosshair. You're going to put that crosshair, and it's going to put that, see that yellow dot right there? See that yellow dot? You can barely see it. And you see that the red and green line pop up. That happens whenever you're right on a particular line. You're going to click it and then drag down to the right corner. See that red line? That shows you at the very bottom of the margins. And the green line that you see at the bottom of the screen means that you are now lined up with the margins all the way across. And you'll notice at first it's got 4 areas. This particular layout will create you 4 cards, 1 in each quadrant. In order to change that, you'll have these rows and columns buttons here that will allow you to be able to fix what the sheet looks like. My sheet has 3 columns, or 3 rows, and it has 6 columns. So that's what those cards are going to look like. This data merge file will create 18 cards, and it'll create as many sets of 18 as you have data for. So if you have 180 data elements in your data file, then you're going to have, this one thing is going to create 10 pages of cards with each of those 180 data sets populated into the card. Okay, that's how that works. So to finish up, just to show you how these things can work together, I'm going to use my assets and I'm going to pull out a golfer card, this golfer player card. You click on the asset, and actually before we do that, I'm going to increase the zoom in and then move the cursors around. So you're always going to work in this first cell when dealing with a card. And you'll see what I mean, because as soon as I pull this card in and drop it in, see what it did? It made a copy everywhere else. So it's showing you I've got these copied. And you can play around with by going over to the layers page, and you'll see it says data merge layout, and there's this little arrow right here When you click on that arrow, it shows you that the golf player card is inside the data merge. If I highlight that and hold it down and drag it above, there's a green bar. You can barely see it. It's just above data merge layout. And drop it. All the other cards disappear and allows me to work on just this one card. This card also has a arrow on it. When you click that, these are all of the elements, the layers within that card that can be edited. So there's a line layer. I click that line, and you'll notice there's a highlight. Whoops, hang on. If you ever move the grid, you go to Edit, Undo, Transform, and your undo can undo as many things as there are on the page. When I hit click on line, this top line highlights. So I can now click on it, I can move it, I can change its value, its color, etc. Player name is then this box that has a name field in it. If I had loaded the data file, I could use one of the records to be representing so I can see what the card will actually look like. When we get to data merge files, we will talk about that, but that will come later. What we will be talking about in the next few videos is how do I put all these things on the page? What are some of the tips and tools I can use to make this look the way I want it to? And then we'll get into how do you merge the data? How do you create the data merge file? But we want to get you to doing design elements first. So that's what this card's going to look like. I've got another line here, which is the middle. It's this middle line right here. It's a white line between these two because a black line wouldn't stand out. I've got this picture frame that I'm highlighting. It shows me now, here's the picture frame. And when I click this little arrow here, it shows me I have two elements under. I have the picture and I have the tournament rating. That's this TOR. You can only see the beginning part of it. So that tournament rating is there. And so those two elements are in that one, but it's all now one layer of picture frame. So if I delete the picture goes away, but the tourney stays there. If I delete the tourney element, the picture stays there. If I delete the picture frame, everything disappears. So you can create, add, move elements all the way, any way you want, however you want to do it. So that is how you set everything up for your first go around of creating cards. In future videos, we'll talk about the different elements that you can access through these toolbars here so that you can create cards that begin to bring in the elements that you want to keep your to get your cards looking the way they want. And just for fun, before we go, I'll show you some of the other assets that we have out here to show you how many different ways you can do things. Here is a hockey card. Here is a racer car. Here is a baseball card. Different fonts, different placement of, this one has a logo here. This one has a logo here. This one has a car silhouette. This one, these are here because they're not displaying in the right symbol format because we don't have that symbology available at the moment. This one is different, has a little picture here, has the league logo here. Different fonts, different sizes. I've got a lacrosse card I can bring over here and show you how a lacrosse card would look. Lacrosse and hockey are almost identical in terms of their cards and the values that are on them. But here, a hockey card, here, a lacrosse card. Lots of things that you can do, all coming your way as we make our way through these videos over the course of the next few weeks or so. So, as always, I thank you for your time and attention. My good friend Jeff Ring says that life is nice when rolling dice, and I don't disagree with him. I hope you're rolling some nice dice too. And as we work through these videos, hopefully you'll be creating some of your own cards for your own games that will be able to give you what you want, that you can print and hold and feel and own the card in the way you'd like to see it. That's not to knock the way the cards may be in whatever game you're trying to create cards for, but sometimes we like to have them look the way we want them to look, and this allows you to do that. It allows you to create your own cards, even if you replicate a design element from some other card, but it allows you to create your own cards anytime you want. So this is Brian Martin saying thank you for your time and attention. We look forward to presenting more of these videos to you as time goes on. But until the next time we meet, as always, I say, so long, everybody.